What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cigars and Whiskey for our next review. Today's review is going to be the Archetype Crystal. And now this cigar is made by Ventura Cigars, and it is a new cigar that was just released in 2018 at the last trade show. And man, it just hit the shelves in the last few months. But man, I am excited to review this with you, to give you some information about this cigar. It is going to be what they call the crystals of the 3 cigars they released for the Archetype line. And this one is a Nicaraguan sun-grown wrapper, Nicaraguan Habano binder and filler. It's a Robusto size, 5x50, and its ranges that I've seen is between $9 and $12, just depending on where you purchase a cigar. But I got this cigar, where I get a lot of my cigars, at Stag Tobacconist of Metro Center in Phoenix. It was one of their new cigars they release. And as those who have seen my reviews before, I go into cigar shops in my local area. I know Arizona, especially Phoenix, we have over 50 shops that just sell cigars and are exclusive cigars. And this one, I gotta say, is a good stick to look for. If you haven't had one, we're going to review this in just a second, and man, I'm telling you, stay tuned, it'll be amazing. Alright, for the pre-draw, you can see this cigar is like a milk chocolatey wrapper. It is very minimal seams, minimal veins. You can see it is a round stick with a rounded head. Now I know that a lot of the stuff I've been reading about these guys, they first started, they had a pigtail on it and they had a closed foot, but it looks like obviously after people smoking it, trying it, they've changed up a little bit the way they make it, but that's not a big deal. But we're gonna go ahead and get into it. I like to start these type of cigars that I've never had. I always use a straight cut. That's just my preference. It doesn't mean you can't punch it, doesn't mean you can't V-cut it, or whatever other means that you use to cut the cigar. But I always like to use a straight cutter, just take a little bit off the cap, just enough to get it so it doesn't unravel on you. Man, and here we go. Getting a taste of a little bit of a cocoa profile, a little bit of an earthiness, getting that sweet hay off of the foot. Man, it is not firm, but it isn't real loose spongy. It's just firm. It's just like the right consistency of tightness. And for Ventura cigars, if you aren't familiar with them, they have had some other cigars. I know one of the cigars a lot of people have tried, and even ones I have reviewed, is the Psycho 7, which is another cigar they make. But when they came out with the Archetype, and they have some other ones they've released, this one, they have 3 versions of it. They call it the Crystals, which is this one, the Curse, and the other one is the Cloaks. And they're all Robusto sizes, they're all 5x50, so they're just the perfect smoke for those who don't want a huge cigar but don't want a little cigar, they just want something they can enjoy. But I gotta say, so far so good. Let's go ahead and light it up, and we'll get into that first third. Alright everybody, in the first third of our Archetype Crystals, getting a little bit of a char profile. I wouldn't say it's a bad char, just a slight little bit. Getting that earthiness, getting a little bit of a faint sweetness. But all in all, I gotta say, so far, just starting out the cigar, it's tasting really good. And again, like I said, always have different cigars on the channel. Hopefully, you're looking at some of those other ones, and always leave your comments. And I would hope you can like and subscribe. But let's go ahead and get into it. I'll be back in just a second with our second third of the Archetype Crystals by Ventura. Alright everybody, welcome back to the second third of review of the Archetype Crystals, Robusto 5x50. And as you can see, the ash is holding greatly. Burns a little uneven, as you can see right there, a little lower than normal, but that was a mouse hole that started, and that's not a bad thing. Sometimes the mouse holes that they burn towards the end, that's okay. Just when you get them way up here in the top of the cigar when you're just starting it, sometimes that's a fluke, that's a pain. But you got to remember, these are hand-rolled cigars. They're not machined, so each one is rolled with leaves of tobacco, so sometimes there are imperfections. But don't let that distraught you in trying their cigars or trying another one of the same cigar you had. Sometimes they're just you know, the imperfections that they occur with handmade cigars. Now, the only problem you'd have is if you're having a cigar and they do that to it all the time, everyone you've ever bought, then that might be a couple things. It may not be the cigar, it might be where you got the cigar. Because if the people aren't maintaining their humidors at 70% humidity and 70 degrees, sometimes that will make them, they'll be dried out so they burn a little goofy. But like I said, don't let that hinder your experiences. Keep trying the cigar. There's got to be, you know, my experience is if I buy a box of 20 or a bundle of 20 and I have 2 or 3 that might be that way. It might just because they're dried out. But most of the time I don't get but maybe 1. But if you get a couple of them, maybe a 3rd one, and then you get a little upset because you paid for them and now you're having issues, check your humidor or make sure they have enough humidity. But that's just a side note. When I continue with the review of this cigar, and like I said, it is pretty good. I am still getting, now I'm getting a little more woody earth profile to it. Just as a slight bitterness on the back of the palate. But this is a mild to medium strength cigar, so it isn't a light cigar. So if you're new to smoking cigars and you don't smoke them very often, you may want to eat something or drink and eat something before you have it, because sometimes you never know. There are some cigars out there that have higher nicotine percentages, and that'll get you when you're not paying attention. But so far so good. This one is going great. Look at the ash. I mean, and as you can see just with us talking over the last few seconds, it's starting to burn even more razor sharp. So again, give your cigar some time to change. It might correct itself, which this one is, but man, I'll keep puffing away. I'll be back with the final thirds and my final thoughts of the Archetype Crystal Cigar Robusto 5x50 by Ventura. I'll be right back. Alright everybody, welcome back for the final third of our Archetype Crystals by Ventura Cigars. And in that final third, profiles are staying about the same. It's not getting too complicated, it's just a basic great smoke. As you can see, it's still burning pretty well. It hasn't been touched up at all, and I'm very surprised. It had a mouse hole at the beginning, as I stated. But man, it is a great cigar. Now, something else I wanted to add and make sure people are aware of, and if you're a cigar guy and you're looking for stuff to do, when you like cigar brands and you like other type things, for example, like Ventura, I just looked today and just found out that they're going to be having a cigar event coming up in the Phoenix area, November 9th, 10th, and 11th, and they're actually going to be at the Phoenix International Raceway during NASCAR, and they're going to have an exclusive event there. So if you're in that area, you're going to the race and you want to check it out, definitely check it out. It sounds like it'll be interesting. Now, it's not something I'll be going to, unfortunately, but like I said, always look for those cigar events. As you look on my channel, you'll also notice I have other cigar events. Sometimes I feature some of the local shops just because it's easier for me to get to some of those, and I know some of the people out there who follow me and subscribe, they've invited me to other events. So if you're not on Facebook and you're not on Twitter and you're not on Instagram and all those other social media stuff, and you just watch YouTube videos, now that's great. But if you are on those social media platforms, definitely subscribe to a lot of those different cigars you like and those different bloggers and everything involved with cigars, and they will send you updates and let you know about events coming up. Man, it's also a great time just to meet some other cigar people out there in the world that enjoy cigars as much as you do, and then to get a chance to try some stuff maybe you haven't heard of or tried or even thought about getting. But there are a lot of great cigars out there. There are hundreds of different brands. You know, they range from $3 all the way up to, you know, I've seen some cigars exclusive up to the $250 range. So it all depends on your budget. There's always something for somebody. So with that said, I hope you liked the video on our Archetype Crystals by Ventura. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Hope you subscribe and like. And as always, have a great day. Have a great smoke. And I will see you next time.